How's it going, everyone? It's Evil Monkey here to bring you the patch breakdown for patch 1.2.23. This patch is the big gun balance patch they've been promising us. 20 different guns got rebalanced. All of them were buffs. The Axion Planes demo got launched. Some good cosmetics, but let's just hop right in, starting with these gun buffs. So first up on the list of guns getting buffed, turns out it's the Final Masterpiece. Now this is kind of funny because on my stream I actually said this gun was going to get buffed, because every time they do gun buffs, they always buff this gun. But these buffs are actually kind of crazy. They tripled the passive damage. Now, if you guys don't know, the gun rotates every time you reload to have a different one of these buffs, and it's pretty good damage. It was like okay damage before, but now it'll be pretty strong. Tripling the damage actually gives it what it needed. Also, the fact that it's electric type and it's going from 1,000 to almost 10,000 damage, kind of nutty. The weak point damage is okay, and it's definitely a good buff. I think this gun actually will now be usable. It was just okay before. I mean, you know, it wasn't any last dagger, but now I think it'll actually be way, way better. I was actually experimenting with a build using this gun before this patch. With Glay, I'll have to release a video with that build, because I think Glay's probably the best user of this gun. Now, the Python buff here is just okay. I mean, definitely needed a damage up, but Python's always been just kind of a middle-of-the-pack gun. It has some builds that make it pretty good, but I've always kind of listed Python under a utility gun since it removes resistance. I think this will help it, but I don't think it'll shift the meta at all. Now, I wasn't expecting a Scavia buff. The gun has actually been weak, but it does have a build where you just shoot really fast with Glay. I think this will be a good buff for it. It is a little bit under 3,000 damage increase. I think it will be okay. Once again, I don't think this one will break anything, like any meta breaking thing, but I think this will make the gun a lot better with the Glay build, but exclusively with Glay. Now, Enduring Legacy did definitely need a buff. It got really cucked with weapon cores, since it got mainly utility ones. Now, I'm kind of surprised that they did this buff. If it had been me, I would have buffed its crit rate so it could get closer to 100% crit rate. But this is, you know, a good damage buff. It definitely needed this. Luckily, Enduring Legacy, even though, you know, 6,000 firearm damage doesn't seem like much compared to some of the other buffs here, this gun can get insanely high crit multiplier. And the weak point damage also kind of makes sense. I mean, it was never really needed, but this will make it synergize better with Blair. And Blair's passive gives increased weak point damage, you guys didn't know, for the gun Blair build. It'll also be nice because, you know, Enduring Legacy's passive is that it reduces fire resistance, so having more fire attack damage, which you already built with the gun, will help a lot. This will probably make Enduring Legacy close to having a top spot again. We'll have to test this one out. Kind of interesting seeing Thunder Cage get buffed, because this was like the #1 gun in the game when the game launched. But, you know, it's fallen from grace since then. I still don't think this will make it as good as Malevolent, mainly because Malevolent can cover a wider area with its blades. I do think this will help with just like massive groups of mobs, maybe in like 400%, but if you're going 400%, you're probably going to just bring Freyna, Nez, some just Descendant with mass wave clear. I think this is a good buff for Thunder Cage, and 400% damage is definitely really good. But I don't think this is going to make the gun like god tier or anything. I think this one fell off. I think Malevolent will still just be a better wave clear gun. And we'll have to test this out. But I don't think it's going to make Thunder Cage like extraordinarily god tier. I was actually really excited to see Fallen Hope up here. This was my first ultimate gun I grinded out in the entire game, because I really liked Freyna, and this was supposed to be her, you know, this is supposed to be her gun. Unfortunately, I still don't think this is going to be the best gun for Freyna. I think instead this will be a really good gun for Serena. If you guys don't know, Fallen Hope has really high multi-hit damage. And it's actually, I think, the only one in the game that just naturally has a 1.0 multi-hit damage. Now, Ancient Knight can get above that. Ancient Knight's fire damage. I think this will make Fallen Hope the best poison gun in the game. Or like single target damage. Not AoE, just single target damage. It times attribute damage times 4, and you went from 30% to 65%. I think this is going to make this gun just... This gun's going to be a monster at single target damage. Once again, I think this will only be with like Serena, who really benefits from multi-hit damage. I don't think this will be good on Freyna per se, but I do think, like I said, it will be really, really good for Serena. I know there is a build that's kind of floated around before with multi-hit damage. I think that build's just gonna skyrocket. Divine Punishment's kind of a weird gun, it always has been. There's really only one person who can really utilize it, and that's Eugen. And this will probably be okay with Eugen, but I think if you're gonna use any gun for Eugen, you're probably just gonna use the top tier firearm attack damage gun. Like, right now it's, Last Dagger, or whatever will be after this patch. I don't think Divine Punishment will be exactly god tier after this. It'll definitely be better for Eugen, but I think it'll probably just not be a gun he really utilizes. He'll probably once again just use whatever the top gun is, like he always has. That's the problem with this gun, it's meant to be like a gun for a support, like a support healer. But Eugen's the only support healer in the game. And he's also not really needed in current content. No. This may change in Season 3, which would make Eugen go up in, power tier. Or however you want to say it. Basically, he'll go up in how well he's needed. But I don't think Divine Punishment will go up along with him. I think Divine Punishment will just always be a mediocre gun. Unless they like hyper buff it. The next on the list is Cavalry Gun. So I think the Albion Cavalry Gun, the biggest thing here is the increased crit rate. This will just allow you to more easily hit 100% crit rate on the gun. The additional damage is nice, and attribute damage is nice, but it'll pretty much be probably about as good as it is right now. Like, tier-wise. Mainly Haley will just use it for, wave clear. That's about it. I think there will still be other guns that are better, but I think these are like a whole bunch of small improvements to the gun that'll just improve it slightly. I want to say about this one, Seared Garden just got a slight buff. The gun was already good. Now, if you're taking Seared Garden, you're not taking it for its gun damage. You're taking it for its passive to give you more skill power. So, I don't think this buff really matters. It will help slightly if you're rotating between abilities and gunfire, but honestly, Seared Garden's a utility gun. It doesn't really care for this buff. Okay, for the King's Guard Lance, this buff's actually kind of crazy. You went from 14% to a 40%. Now, King's Guard Lance has always been kind of an okay gun, like after they reworked it slightly. But there's this video I never released, but I did make a build for it. And I will work on releasing this video, because I think now the build will actually be really good. Serena has an interesting interaction with King's Guard Lance. Her fourth ability procs on each of the spears you throw into the ground. So whenever you use this unique ability, it throws a spear into the ground and shoots 3 lasers from that spear at the closest targets. Now, if you throw out one of those spheres while Serena's fourth ability is activated, turns out each of those small lasers, which is this 40% damage, actually procs Serena's fourth ability individually. So it causes this mass amount of AoE damage, and you can throw out 3 of those at once. So technically you can have 10 procs of Serena's fourth ability going at once. Once again, I have a build. I just never came out with the video. I will actually come out with that video soon, because I think it's a really funny build. So yeah, I'll work on that. Now, I think outside of Serena, this gun will just be, dog water, but I'll release that video. You guys will probably enjoy it. Yeah, that's pretty much it for King's Guard Lance. This will be kind of a fun buff. Now, Clairvoyance has always been just a trash gun. It's always was like a utility one for ice users, but at the same time, the buff you get from it isn't fully worth it. You just rather bring a damage gun. And while this is a large amount of increase, it's over a 10,000 increase in damage, I still don't think this gun will be very good. Now, this all comes back down to the fact that beam weapons have inherent issues. Now, I'm not going to discuss that in the video. If you guys do want me to, I can release a discussion video on what's inherently wrong with beam rifles and some solutions that the devs could do to, fix that. Let me know if you guys want me to release a discussion video about that. But yeah, I don't think this will actually help too much. I think it'll be nice for Clairvoyance users, like people who use ice abilities would want to use this gun kind of, but yeah, I still think this gun's gonna be trash. You'd still rather just bring an actual damage gun, but I think that would be more damage instead of just getting the debuff from Clairvoyance. I do think Voltia has some nice buffs here. The multi-hit damage will be nice because then you can just get rid of any kind of crit in Voltia instead of multi-hit damage. I think this will help the gun a little bit. The biggest question is, I don't know if the passive can proc multi-hit. I don't think it can. I'm pretty sure that's actually listed in multi-hit damages. It doesn't proc on your passive. But this will help it with some of its AoE damage. I think the gun will still be lackluster because once again, it's a beam rifle. I don't know how I feel about Devotion's buffs. These are really, really good numbers. But it also comes down to the fact that Devotion's passive is not good. It's the one where you mark a target and your allies shoot the target, and then they get shields back based off your mana. Actually, it drains your mana away. So it's not a very good gun. It's passive, at least. And a lot of characters don't want you just eating up mana. Now, there's a lot of ways to, circumvent your mana. I still don't think this is gonna make the gun god tier. Now, maybe what I'm thinking here is maybe Haley's 4th ability could use this. There were some builds that used non-snipers previously, and these damage numbers might make it so that you want to maybe use it with Haley's 4th ability. I don't think this gun will be necessarily god tier. I think it'll just still be okay, but these are kind of insane numbers. Maybe you'll just use it straight up for its base stats. Seeing Perforator here is kind of funny. I know I said this for a few other guns. I was experimenting with a build for Perforator and Glay, and the only thing I felt like it was lacking was damage, and now I got more damage, so I'll have to test that build out again. But I think Perforator may be actually really, really good now, especially with that huge increase to weak point damage. Especially since Perforator is a gun where you constantly want to hit weak point damage. This will probably make it really, really, really good. We're gonna have to experiment with this a lot. But yeah, I definitely think this gun's like way up on the tier list now. Okay, this Peacemaker buff kind of feels fake, if I'm gonna be honest. Peacemaker's gun doesn't really do too much. You're really just bringing it for either its passive or the movement speed. I don't think it's going to change too much. Now, it will help if you're alternating between gunfire and shooting, but pretty much any character that uses it for its passive, it's just spamming out abilities. Valby, Ajax are spamming out abilities. If you're using it for the movement speed, you're probably only exclusively using it for the movement speed, you're not using it for damage. So I think this is kind of a fake buff. I wish Wave of Light was better than it is, but I think even with these buffs, it's still going to be just a trash tier weapon. It has such a cool passive, but it comes down to the fact that scout rifles are just in this really awkward spot where they're just not very good. So this is still not going to help the gun too much. They have to rework scout rifles entirely, damage-wise at least. Kind of like Peacemaker, the blue beetle buffs feel fake, because you're pretty much only using this gun for its passive, and I think pretty much only Sharon uses that, since it really only works with fusion crit. There's a Viesa build that used to use it, but that Viesa build, has been phased out. So I think this is kind of fake. Frostwatcher is better. That's pretty much all I can say here. It's Haley's weapon. The weak points damage is nice. I don't think this is going to be meta breaking, but it's a nice buff. Afterglow is a gun I've always wanted to be really good, and there was like a small bit of time where it was considered the best sniper in the game. Very small portion of time in the beginning of the game. But snipers have always had this weird niche in the game. Now maybe with Season 3 you'll need a sniper to take out like elites or something, which could be useful. But I don't think it's going to help it too much. I think it'll still be in that weird niche where it doesn't one-shot really anything, but also it has too little ammo / it's too slow for most of the content of the game. Now, once again, this may change to Season 3, but I don't think it's going to help Afterglow too much. I think it'll still fall behind the other two sniper rifles of Piercing Light and, ATAMs. Final gun on the list is Piercing Light. Now, I think this will help a lot with Haley, because her 4th ability, you always use Piercing Light, and a 0.75 increase in weak point damage is just massive for Haley. So you may see a slight shift from ATAMs to Piercing Light. We'll have to play around with the numbers, but this definitely makes it more viable than it once was for the 4th ability Haley build again. But that's the only use it has. So for the first of the content improvements, it looks like pretty much all core crafting gold costs has been cut in half. Now this is pretty useful, as one of the things that I at least run out of a lot is gold. So definitely useful. will help a lot for when you're trying to grind out those perfect builds. Looks like one of the new features they added was those Descendant purchase tickets. You can now sell them at ETA 0. Looks like there's a few UI improvements. They improved the UI to show first clear rewards before acquiring them in Void Purge challenge difficulty. Added a sale complete indicator to customize items in the event shop when you've reached the limit, which will be nice. Added default stickers to photo mode. I'm surprised those weren't in already. Added a description for frames and stickers. That'll be convenient. Improved text description and external component core screen, which will be very nice to look at. New cosmetics also launched this patch. It's the bunny skins. And damn, for whatever reason, my wallet just suddenly felt a lot lighter. But we're gonna get the bunny skins this one that they've been talking about, some new emotes, and some new common paints. So look forward to that, and who knows, maybe your wallet's also gonna feel a little bit lighter because of these skins. So for anyone who didn't know, this patch is also the patch where the Axiom Plains demo is released. Now, to access this, you just have to hit the little demo button down in the corner on the tile screen. This will be available after this patch launches, so by the time you're watching this video. The game structure for the demo will be different than the final product. They won't say that. Your demo's progress will not be saved. You'll get to choose between playing Ultimate Bunny, Freyna, or Nell, the new Descendant. You can preview 2 new Ultimate weapons. You can preview the Legion of Breach, Colossi, and 1 vehicle type. You can preview parts of Axion, but not the entire thing. And if you complete the demo, you get some rewards, some pretty nice ones. Mainly a crystallization catalyst, but just for playing, you do get a couple titles, which will be pretty nice, and some gold. And if you do the survey, you also get some more stuff. So if you want those rewards, it's pretty worth it. I'm going to be checking out the demo, and I'll be releasing a video later this week. That will be a first impression of the demo, so look forward to that. I am still hesitant about this demo, because if it's really, really good, Season 3 will just be hyped so much. But for whatever reason, the demo's really bad. It's going to kill all the hype off for Season 3. So I'm still hesitant about this demo, but I'm looking forward to it. And like I said, we'll release a video going over if it's good or bad later this week. And that's going to go ahead and wrap it up for this patch breakdown. Lots of cool gun buffs in this patch. Let me know down below the video which ones you guys are looking forward to most. I'm going to make some videos for a lot of these gun builds. That'll be something to look forward to. The Season 3 demo is also very exciting. Can't wait to play that. But that's going to go and wrap up this video. Now, I do stream every day on Twitch at 2 p.m. I'll go ahead and throw up the stuff on the screen there and put the link down below the video. And if you did like this video, don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. And thank you for watching.